Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Vision 2020. I am April Sharice, and today we're going to have an enlightening conversation with Dr. Darcova Matrice, who is the editor-in-chief and founder of a free online publication called STRUT, the magazine. Darcova, if you would share with our listeners everything about you and your wonderful magazine, please.
Okay, yes, I want to start by saying thank you for having me. I look forward to this conversation that we're going to have, and I want to start with a poem.
Sure.
The title is Self-Talk. Can't dull my shine, can't dim my light, can't silence me, can't tame my fight. Won't slow me down, won't push me back, won't make me stop. That thought is whack. Amazing am I, greatness is me, doing all things unapologetically. Do too much, go too far, ain't gotta reach, I am the star.
Yes, I love that. I love that. So can you tell us a little bit about the inspiration for that piece?
Yes, so this actually is a collection of poetry that I published 2017. Can we see it? And it's called Fly. This is if it were written a different way, it would be my autobiography after or during the divorce process. And so I know this is not our topic, but when I went through that, I call it a simple divorce turned horrific custody battle.
Hmm.
I found myself in a space where I could not talk at all. And
Wow.
I was able to sit down and I literally wrote this collection of poetry in 24 hours.
Wow.
Sat down and I did not get up until it was finished. And so in this collection, I'm basically speaking life back into myself. I had to remind myself of all of the positive things that I had going on and all of the reasons why I had to continue to push and continue to live. And so yeah, that's why I get to be fly.
I love it. I love it. And we'll make sure we have links to get copies of that book down below, as well as how to stay in touch with Dr. Darcova Matrice as well. So you seem to be just full of literary works, because not only do you have the magazine, which is what we'll be talking about today, but you have penned, is this the only book, or do you have multiple books that you've written?
Yeah, there are multiple books. I kind of stopped counting, but there are books that I published with just my work, and then I found the need to be able to allow create the platform for other women to have their voices heard. And so when we go back and go to the initial start of how the magazine came about, it was literally a poem that I wrote for someone else, and
Uh,
the title of that poem was From Sneakers to Stilettos. And at the end, it says something like, I'm a grown woman now. I walk by, you watch, and I strut by, and the crowd goes wild. And so I was like, strut. I like that. I like that. So from that poem, I published my first collection of poetry that featured other women, which was Strut, the
yeah,
collection of poetry about women, the words of women who walk in purpose.
right, right.
So from that collection of poetry, we had several different events that brought women together, empowering each other. And then I'm thinking, we got all these books, everybody writing a book. I want a magazine.
Yeah.
And it was just that simple. Nothing. I didn't have a vision and all this good stuff.
Yes.
It was like everybody else is doing this. I want to do something a little bit different. And so we started Strut the magazine in 2013, and I was adamant that I wanted a magazine that we could hold in our hands, because I read Oprah, I have Essence, I have Jet, all of those, and I believe in archiving, our work, and I need to see it. I want to see the pretty
Right.
pictures and all of that. And so we had this magazine that was really like an anthology when I think back, because I was charging $10 for it. And I'm
Mhm.
like, everybody was saying, "Why don't we pay $10 for a magazine?" And I do real good with my words, and I'm saying, like, the content is amazing. And
Yeah.
so that's one thing I can definitely guarantee. And I appreciate God for this gift, for bringing me in contact with women who have these powerful stories.
Right, right.
In Strut the magazine, we're able to capture that. After having these 50-page color magazines that I'm selling for $10, that lasted for, I think I probably did that first round for 2 years.
Okay.
And then I'm like, okay, that I can't, because on the shelves, Oprah's magazine is just $6.97. So
Right.
and not to say like who's Oprah, but yeah, I mean $10 was a stretch. I appreciate all the people who purchased those magazines and who supported the movement back then, but I had to stop and revamp. And so we're at this year, 2020. I came back and it's online,
Mhm.
which it took me a minute to be okay with, because I want to hold it in my hand.
Yes.
But that just speaks to the need for us to be willing and able to evolve,
Yeah.
because this is the age that we're in now, the age of technology.
So this is
So
really interesting. I just want to ask you real quick. So you started in 2013 with the physical copy. It was something that you like, even though you on a in the instant thought that I wanted to have a magazine, but you took it a step further. You wanted it to be something tangible, something that women and readers of all genders really who could just really appreciate and value. And now you're doing a digital, which seems like it had to be a big transition. Can you talk to us about what that acceptance was like to accept going to a digital copy?
Oh yeah, I fought it. And that's why we published 2013, 2014, and had nothing until 2020, because I was like, I had to again be willing to say these are the times that we're living in.
Mhm.
If my goal is to get the word out
Mhm.
that women have some really positive things going on,
Yeah.
that we have some really positive stories. I had to kind of just go back to the foundation, to what my why do I want a magazine? Why am I doing this?
Right.
And it's because there's so many women that we don't hear about. There's so many stories that we don't get, and so I go for those women.
Yeah.
Those are the women I go for. And so I was able to build my team, which is really small, even though I have a million Facebook friends and a million people. I love to be surrounded by people, but for the projects that I work on, I work with like either 2 to 3 people,
Yes. Yeah.
because I realize that there are certain things that I know that I want to happen, um, and I'm very specific, and I need it to come out just like I want it to come out. And I
Right.
know everybody doesn't, work well with people like that. I don't ask a lot of people for a lot of input on many things, because I know what I want. I know what I want the end product to look like. And so when I go to people to help, it's because I need help with those
Yeah. Got it.
steps to get there. So the young lady that I'm working with now, who is the graphic designer
Mhm.
for our Strut magazine, does an exceptional job. She's actually a childhood friend. We went to church together. So
Mhm.
like elementary school. So
Oh,
she knows me. She
right.
knows me. Um, and I know her. I love her work. I can say, Latrice, I want this. And I just say a little bit, and she comes out and I'm like, yeah, wonderful. Wonderful. It's kind of like going to the hair salon with
Mhm.
my hairstyles when I used to do those little curls. I don't want to have to tell you how to do it. I want you to be able to, use your creativity, use your skills, and go to work, make magic. But I'm gonna need for it to be right.
Right. I get it.
I
I
need
get
for it to
it.
be right. And
So
so they're only, again, it's just been a blessing from God that He puts me in contact with those people that I can work with like that.
amazing. Would you say it's been challenging to build the team or to find the right people to help produce your vision?
Not at all. Not at all. I'm constantly looking for people. I'm constantly looking for the gift. There's a thing where you see what you want to see. So when I interact with anybody, I'm trying to figure out, okay, what she do? You
Yes.
know, what does she do? I will never walk into a room needing something and come out without it,
Right.
because if we're all in the room together, I'm going to talk, I'm going to look, I'm going to observe, and I'm going to step to you and I'm going to ask, hey, is this something you would be willing to do? There are many young ladies that I've approached to share their stories in our magazine, and they go, "Ooh, I can't write, and I've never done this before." A lot of the ladies who contribute to the magazine are first-time published writers, and so I'm saying, don't worry about that. Just tell your story.
Right.
You
Right.
know, just get to the nitty-gritty. Say what was wrong and how you fixed it. And
Right.
then in some cases it doesn't get fixed, immediately. So we get to be transparent and say, I'm still working on it, you
Yeah.
know, but I
Yeah.
just need you to share. Just share.
Yeah. So I want to go back just a little bit, back to 2013 when you originally got this idea, because I know there are some listeners out there who have the same dream as you to launch and found a magazine. Can you take us through that process and what funding a magazine from the grassroots looks like?
So my other job is teacher.
Mhm.
I knew that while I can ask people to share their stories, I don't like to ask people for money.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to start off, I knew that I needed to be able to fund everything on my own. I need to be able to pay the contributing writers. I need to be able to pay for the publication costs and all of that. So I would set that money aside, in my budget to cover that. So
Right.
that this point, all I needed to do was find the talent. There was a young lady at the time, Katandra,
Mhm.
who is Freedom Inc. Publishing.
Mhm.
It was her first time publishing a magazine, and we decided to work together. And so that's how I was able to get the first two issues
Yeah.
published. And then for the that third round, I sought the assistance of a high school classmate
Ah.
who was phenomenal, Shawan Clay, phenomenal graphic designer. And yeah, so I went back to, if it was a little black book, but it was out here. I went back to the people that I know,
Right.
the
Right.
people that I know, and find, and I was able to match up their gifts with
Mhm.
what it is that I was seeking. Um, at the time, nobody else that I knew had published a magazine, so
Mhm.
I was going off Oprah.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, if Oprah did it, I can too, you know. And then, as with everything that I do, I had to add my own flair to it. So while I had Oprah, that's my favorite magazine for the record. While I had that as my blueprint,
Mhm.
I allowed myself that window to make the magazine my own,
Mhm. Wow.
and we were able to publish from there.
Great, great. Did you face many obstacles throughout the process, even once you got people who believed and saw your vision? Were there any obstacles that came up after that?
Yeah, the biggest obstacle was when they kept telling me, you got too many pages. It's
Okay.
too big. You got to bring it down. You got to scale it down. And I'm saying, well, no, I want, because I like, again, I don't want to miss the opportunity. And
Right.
I initially I said, okay, we will have 10 stories.
Mhm.
Okay, then I met somebody else who, she has a really good story. We want to add her and this issue and this issue. And so I had to go within myself and say, okay, like, time, all I have is time. I
Yeah.
had to sit down, I had to establish my calendar, not
Mhm.
to have to say, okay, this issue, this is the thing for this issue, this is the thing for this issue. And then I went ahead and penciled in the people who
Mhm.
I wanted to be contributors to each issue. So for me, the biggest obstacle was just
Yeah.
slowing down and allowing it to flow, allowing the process to flow.
Do you have any advice that you would give a listener out there who has started, maybe they're in their third or fourth year in, and they're losing hope because it just hasn't become what they envisioned it to be?
Whatever you do, don't stop.
Yeah.
The best piece of advice is don't stop. What I saw was I did 2013, 2014. In between that time, we published other books We still use the name, the Strut brand. So that's what allowed us to keep momentum.
Yeah.
But I'm almost certain if I had stuck with the process, I could have still been selling those magazines for $10. But I was my own hindrance there, and it wasn't right. It wasn't as perfect as I wanted it to be. So I was like, okay, this is it. I'm done.
Yeah.
So whatever you do, don't stop. You may pause. It's okay to pause for a minute, to regroup and to revamp, but don't give up. Don't give up on that dream.
Got it. Got it. I believe in it too. And I love that you put that out there, not to give up. I know it's something that we hear a lot of times in different avenues, but it's really encouraging every time you hear it, but it's also very impactful if you continue on, like you say, and follow
Right.
through.
Right. And then you just see, again, be open to evolving, be open to just seeing what can happen. Because what I realize is we get the vision and ideas to do things, but we only see a little bit.
Yeah.
And God only shows us what we need for that moment.
Right.
So as long as we keep stepping, he brings more to the table. And so what I can say is 2013, I may have had about 100, say, subscribers.
Hmm.
Now, I mean, and this is probably not the best business advice if you're trying to make money, but because the magazine is online, it's free. I don't have a charge on it at
Mm.
all, again, because I really believe in the messages that are
Mm.
being out there. My goal is to make sure the people are able to read these stories. And I have people who are reading in Australia.
Oh,
There
wow.
are people who are reading, in different countries.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that for me, that's a win situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Have you noticed an influx in subscribers since it's been free? Um, or has it been
Um,
consistent?
yeah. So this is the thing. I'm probably not the best bookkeeper
Oh,
either, but I do have, there's a core group of
yeah.
people that I know that I will make sure I personally email the subscriptions to, the issues to. But I literally will place the link on my Facebook page and tag everybody I know and
Mhm.
say read it. And so what happens is I look forward to those messages and those calls and those inboxes where people are saying, hey, how can I get in contact with this young lady?
Yeah.
Or this story was really like that. That's the light, you
Yeah.
know, for me, when somebody gets it
Yeah.
and then they're able to use something from what they read in that issue. And so while the magazine is free, um, we have the Strut brand, and you got me right after I did my Healthy Strut walk. So it's like we have the T-shirts that we sell, we have the events that we host, we have the other books with the Strut brand on them. So the magazine is kind of just like the catalyst.
Yeah.
It's the bait.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, people want to say, well, what is that strut? And I go, well, to strut is to walk in your purpose, on purpose, with confidence, competence, and conviction.
Yeah.
And then, so what does that look like? For
Yeah.
me, if you had the teacher in me, you have that bubble mat where you have in the middle. In the middle, I have strut.
Right.
That's
Right.
who I am. That's what I do. And then we have all of the branches that go from there, which translate for all our business people into those multiple streams of income.
Got it. Got it. So 2020 has been crazy. Because of COVID, so many industries have been affected. So many, people personally have been affected. Has COVID-19 affected your business at all? Are you seeing an increase in more people wanting to share their story now, or how are things going?
So I appreciate the way that God works, how He allowed me, or let me see, how He stuck with me long enough for me to get that this online thing was about to be something, you
Mm.
know. And so now we started January with the first issue, Vision 2020, and from this, I've been able to create. We also do the Brains and Beauty mentoring group for girls, and usually we have the sessions and the camps and the workshop. Well, now everything has to be virtual.
Yeah.
Everything is online. So I've been able to use this brain here and say, again, God still expects me to speak. He still expects me to be able to get that word, to be able to reach those young girls, to be able to reach those women. And so, how are you going to do it?
Yeah.
And we've been able to just translate and move a lot of those things online.
That's good. That's good. Do you believe that you will have an issue this year that's focused just on the COVID stories and just details of what life was like during this pandemic?
Okay, so the first answer is no, because I'm sticking to my plan where I wrote down the theme, you
Right.
know, for each issue. That's one thing. But yes, we have something in the works where we have two women already who are recovering. Is it recovering? Who beat
Yeah.
COVID-19? I
Yeah.
believe that's what it is.
That's awesome.
And they're ready to share their story. So it's just a matter of we're trying to decide if it will be a section, because our next issue is July, and then our final issue for 2020 is October.
Okay.
So we're trying to decide if we'll have a special issue just dedicated to this, or if it needs to be a book.
Okay.
So
Got it. Well, I'm
that's
looking
still
forward to that. I really want to. I read the magazines anyway, but I'm I'm definitely looking forward just to seeing, what life was like for other people, because sometimes we're in our own bubble in our own home, and
absolutely.
we don't really stay connected on things like that. So I'm looking
And
forward
so,
to
I definitely tie in the things that I do with my students. Right now, I'm a fifth grade teacher.
that.
And so I had those students, one of their final online assignments was to create a PowerPoint that shows what the school year was like in the beginning, what's going on right now, and then they had to make predictions
Yeah.
for what they expect in the next 3-4 years. And so that's definitely something that we, just regular people
Yeah.
can kind of take the time to stop and reflect on that, and then see where we're going.
Right, right. Awesome. So since you mentioned predictions, I do have a question, because like you said, the landscape in different industries are constantly changing. Do you
Mhm.
have a perspective on where publishing may be going, or what it may look like going forward, other than just like an online platform? I mean,
I all I can see right now is the online piece, because everybody needs to, if as much as possible, stay home.
mhm,
And the way that we're interacting with each other is via Zoom and via Facebook Live and Instagram, all of the social media platforms. So I definitely see a hike. There will be a spike in people sharing their stories via the online platforms.
got it, got it. Yeah, that makes sense.
And I think also this time, I'm sorry, this this year, I think, has a lot of people thinking. And so you again have to reflect on, like, I'm just walking, and
Mhm.
the numbers of COVID cases and deaths, I mean, is amazing. We're talking about people, you
Yes.
know, these are actual people. And so this is that opportunity for us to really, go inside and say, hey, what is it that I want to do?
Yeah.
What do I really want my life to be about? And then, go ahead and make those plans. Go ahead and start moving in that direction.
Mm. And again, not to just dwell on COVID, but I had a thought cross my mind, and I just wanted to ask, because I thought what you did with your students was really profound. Is there anything that you can leave for business owners to get through this pandemic from a business perspective? Um, Something creative, maybe, or just something inspiring that you want to share with them?
Yes. So, as a writer, I think everybody should be keeping a journal. And we when we were in school, we read the Diary of Anne Frank, and we read, this is that time. I tell my students all the time, we're living history.
Yes.
This is it right here. So for you business owners, go ahead, whether you're able to move forward, go ahead, make sure your plan is plain as possible,
Mm.
plain and clear what it is, and go ahead and do those projections for 1 year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Go ahead and write it all down. And I promise that alone is going to inspire you to keep going and don't stop. Because when you can see, as long as we're going day to day, and I get, I'm all about being in the moment, enjoy this moment. This is the only moment you have and all that good stuff. But go ahead, take a few minutes to look down the line.
Yeah.
And that should inspire you.
Yeah.
Be as creative as possible. Think of all the ways that you can use your gift. Again, go back to that bubble map.
Yeah.
Put your name in the middle, and then all of your gifts. Go ahead and list them all. You'd be surprised. And a lot of people, there's a difference. I was just listening to good friend Dr. Richie down in Cordele, Georgia. She was explaining the difference between your gift and your talent. And so she was saying that your talent is your skill set. Okay. Your gift is what you get from God. So your skill set can change all the time. That gift is constant.
Right.
And it's just all the different ways you have to be able to identify all the different ways that the gift shows up.
Yeah.
And so yeah, business people, if you've been given the idea to create this product, to develop a platform, go ahead. Don't let this is just a moment. It's a long moment.
Yeah.
it feels long, and there's so many uncertainties about what's going to happen, when the country will open up, if it hasn't already. It's just so many questions. Stop asking the questions and just start writing down some answers. We can focus on questions, or you can focus on some answers. The choice is yours.
Got it. That's really great. So I just have a few more questions. I know you're probably busy, but I want to wrap it up with two things focusing on strut. Again, I remember a lot of those events that you put on for women in the past. It was very empowering and it was very inspiring. What does the future of strut look like?
Okay, so when will this issue run? When will this conversation?
Monday.
Monday? Okay, good. So I'm going to give you all a sneak peek, right? So the theme for our July issue is selfish. So I'm going to give us, I feel like I can create my own definition. So I created our own definition for selfish that I'm going to say. But with that issue, we're really just focusing on taking advantage of this time to stop, reflect, take care of yourself inside your mental, your spiritual, physical, and emotional being. And as soon as we can get together, it's going to be a huge gathering, because at this point we'll have the women who contribute to Strut the magazine. We'll have the contributors for the collection of poetry, and we'll have also the women who are members of the Healthy Strut movement. So you got a large conglomerate of women with all of these gifts and talents. And so when we're in the room together, I literally kind of just stand off to the side, because everybody is there, and you're like, oh, I remember you. Oh, I remember your story. So we're looking forward to that time when we can all just get together. Again, we're doing what we need to utilize the online platforms. But yeah, when we Strut, the next time Strut gets together, y'all better be ready.
And before we go, can you explain to us what Healthy Strut is, and then also wrap up the conversation by telling us what is something that you would share with your younger self about your future?
Okay, so the Healthy Strut part of our brand is just focusing on making sure you're your best self. It can be, for me, it's physical right now, because I realize the connection between my physical strength and my mental strength. So when I do Healthy Strut, we have a Healthy Strut group, and There's usually a challenge.
Mhm.
There's a monthly challenge, and is the constant challenge is really basic. We know for our healthy selves, we should try to walk. And you can jog if you want to. You can skate. I said you can skate. You can twirl. You can do whatever. But like if you just walk for 30 minutes a day, it does your heart good, and then you feel good and you fine,
Right.
right? So the healthy start challenge is the constant challenge is however many days are in the month,
Mhm.
that's how many miles we want to walk for that month. So right now we have the 31-day, 31-mile challenge.
Okay.
You walk 1 mile a day, you get it, and you feel accomplished and you feel good, and you take on all these other challenges.
Right.
So it's about you identifying for yourself, what do you need.
Yeah.
Some women are doing the jump ropes. Some have a challenge. So it's very open for
Okay.
you to cater it to what you need to do, but we're accountable to each other. Our other hashtag is move something every day. Like you gotta do something.
Yeah.
So that's what the healthy strut movement is about. Now, to speak to my younger self,
Yes.
what would I tell her? um, yeah, because my younger self was pretty was a go-getter,
Mhm.
was really focused. And I think she was a good person. So I I'm that person who never has the politically correct answer. Just for the record.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's good. I don't have anything to say to her. She did exactly what she was supposed to do for that time, and now here I am.
Yeah. Awesome. That's a way to end it. Well, I thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to speak with us. Again, if you want to speak with Dr. Darcova directly, I'll put her information down below. And even if you want to be a contributor to Strut or purchase Strut, or well, it's online now, subscribe to Strut, all of that information will be down below too. And maybe we all can join the Healthy Strut Challenge moving forward. So thank you guys so much. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.